All praises be to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, and Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of the great millstone, which rule well and teach well and in sincerity taught us this truth. And Shalawam to the Lord's hopeful elect, 144,000 men, as well as one-third men, women, and children, maintaining themselves, keeping the laws, commandments, and statutes to the best of their ability. It's your brother Yerami Kazak, back with hopefully another edifying lesson. Through the spirit and power of Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Kakadash, the true names of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Yahawah is the true name of the Father. Yahawashi is the true name of the Son. And Kakadash is the true way that you say Holy Spirit. Right? Rakah meaning spirit, Kadash meaning holy. Yahawah meaning he is, he exists. And Yahawashi meaning he saves, he delivers. So this one will be a quick lesson. No longer than 20 minutes. Dropping my son off at piano practice, so I just got a little bit of time, and really just something happened, right? And Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi blesses us always, or provides the way, for us to just like get these little slight blessings, you know what I'm saying, out of nowhere. And this one was one out of surprise. So I was driving over here, and why do Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi I left at the time that I left, right? Because I left like 10:10. We gotta be here at 10:30, right? We left early, and on the road, I saw this dude with he was driving, and he had a lot of sheep in his truck, and I'm like, yo, and he happened to have his window down, so I'm riding right behind him. I pull up on the side, and I'm playing. I'm like, yo, let me get a sheep. And he laughing. He was like, you want one, bro? It's a car. I was like, oh, snap. I was like, shoot, yeah, for real. So then we pull up on this stop, and cool dude, man. We get to talking. He actually owns a sheep farm. And he was showing me the sheep, which I uploaded on TikTok. I'll probably upload on here later, but he was showing me the sheep and telling me that this one's like 4 months, this one's like 7 months, this one's, all below 1 year. And most of them was males. And I'm like, man, I be needing these for certain feasts that I do. He said, I give them, are you Muslim? I said, no. I said, nah, Israelite. So, okay, no offense, don't take offense, right? He was cool, it was cool, And I was like, just certain feasts. So he'll actually, and that's why I'm saying it's just out of nowhere blessing. He said he'll chop it up, he'll clean it, he'll take all the guts out and all that. Baby sheep, how it's supposed to be done, and like 150, right? When you go to damn Sprouts, or you go to Trader Joe's or something, and they charging you $70 for a lamb's leg. Okay? At the end of the day, that brother texting me right now. So this was a blessing, man. Out of nowhere. Now I want to let's go to Exodus. And let's go to Exodus, and let's start at the top, right? Exodus 12. And Yahawah spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, this month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, in the 10th day of this month, they shall take to them every man a lamb, according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house. And if the household be too little for the lamb, let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make you count for your lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male of the first year. Ye shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats. Right? And I was sitting there, I was examining the lambs, and he was like, you want one? You come down to my farm, and you pick out a lamb. Cool. I'm like, okay, I can do it how it's supposed to be done, the correct way, And I just saw that as Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, bringing that to fruition, like, and not saying that brothers got to do that or nothing, right? Because been doing the Passover for about 3 to 4 years, and I just go to Sprouts and get some lamb, all right? But now that just out of nowhere, this happened where I met this guy, and that's Yahawah, because we know ain't no such thing as free will. Ain't no reason that I left early, is that Yahawah had me leave early to come here, and that I would happen to meet him on the road, and he would basically he sells lambs. So bringing it more to some more edification is, you got to trust in Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, right? That in Jacob's trouble or whenever, he will provide these type of things. He see you want to keep it correctly, you want to keep it properly, right? He's going to provide individuals in your life. He's going to provide food. He's going to provide raiment, clothing, shelter, all this stuff. All right, let's get a couple more. Okay. So with that being said, let's go to, of course, my favorite one of my favorites, Isaiah 65 and 13, because that's what I'm understanding out of that. Therefore, thus saith Yahawah power, behold, my servant shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servant shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servant shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. So instead of breaking the bank to get a lamb, out of Sprouts or whatever, just go there, get a lamb, and it's far cheaper. I know that it's a male, right? I can identify it. I can look at it. You know what I'm saying? So it's a better way of doing things, and that was provided. That's why I said it's just a little blessing in disguise. You know what I'm saying? What the hell? Yeah, I'm gonna get these bug outs out of here, man. The internet crazy. That's why we can't wait for order to be restored on this place. All right, 100%. Now, keeping it going. So we're gonna, in these days, we're gonna be fed. We're gonna be, provided for. We're gonna be able to drink. We're gonna rejoice while the rest of this planet is in distress. Because understanding the beast system, that hour of temptation will come upon the entire planet, not just America. For you individuals, you got, man, I've seen it so many times. Individuals talking about, well, I need to leave America. I need to leave Babylon. Okay, so what? You understand the C-HIP is going to be enacted all over this planet, right? It's going to be from Australia to Alaska, all right? The MOTB is going to be mandatory. So you can go anywhere. You still going to have to face that temptation, all right? Regardless. Yeah, Babylon may be having a civil war, a purge and stuff like that, but what's going to be going on everywhere else? All right, WW3, okay? So by saying those things, like I need to get out of America, like Russia's not gonna get hit with ICBMs, like China's not gonna get hit, like the UK ain't gonna get hit. Do you understand that America, right, the whore, she rules, and these Edomites in general rule by the sword. So being in America and actually, being in the military, and just you can just Google it. America has over 800 bases all over this planet. So what? They take out America, she's still gonna send nukes back. They have what you call, a system where they get hit, they hitting right back. This is how nuclear warfare is fought. All right, you take for example Russia with the dead hand system. They get hit, they all unalive. Guess what? Nukes is still coming out of those silos to hit back whoever hit them. This is, it's a suicide type of spirit that the Edomites have on them. You got down in Israel, right? The Amalekites, they have, what is it called? The Solomon plan, I believe, where if at the end of the day they just gonna send nukes at everybody, their allies included, so America included. So this is the type of mindset that these Edomites have on them, man. All right, if they can't win, nobody can win. That's what they got on them. So our only way up out of this thing is Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. Okay? Right? And the blessings that he will bring upon us, the blessings that he will bestow upon us. So looking at these this is looking at every blessing as and being grateful for it, man, because this is Shabbat, right? You know, just being grateful and moving the correct way, and just being thankful for a minor, you may consider it a minor blessing or a major or whatever, you know, whatever floats your boat, but everything is important, right? Because it's always someone that has less, and it's always someone that has more. You got to be thankful for your daily bread, whatever that you've been given. You know what I'm saying? Keeping it going a little bit more in here. Behold, my servant shall sing for joy of heart, because our mind, we're going to be rejoicing, you know. But ye shall cry for sorrow of heart. You was never with Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. And shall howl for vexation of spirit. That brings to mind Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter, right? Because they'll be looking, and in that time, you will know that it's a prophet. You will know who the prophets are. You will know, hey, these are the real men. It will no longer be, well, I think IUIC is the real, or I think ISUPK is. No, you're going to know who the real men of Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi are, right? So that vexation of spirit is going to mess you up. It's going to eat you up. And ye shall leave your name for a curse unto my chosen, for Yahweh power shall slay thee, and call his servants by another name. That he who blesseth himself in the earth shall bless himself in power of truth, and he that sweareth in the earth shall swear by the power of truth, because the former troubles are forgotten, and because they are hid from mine eyes. So let's go to Revelations. Because we understand. Let's go to Revelation, the 21st chapter. Right? Let's start at verse 1, and we'll end it up over here. Like I said, it's going to be a quick one, under 20 minutes. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. So that new heaven, that new earth is talking about a new kingdom, a new society, a new environment, right? A new rulership, which is what is brought in by Yahawashi, okay? And it will be passed down to the men that follow him, all right? King David being first, and then the apostles, and then the 144,000, a rank in order. You don't just get to be, if you didn't do the work, you just get to be pushed to the top. No, it's actually a ranking order, a ranking system. And I would like it like that, because that's order. Everything will be done in order, right? So that new heaven and that new earth is talking about a new kingdom, a new rulership, a better way of life. Verse 2, and I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem. Understanding the scriptures, we are that city. And who that we mean? That means the 144,000, the men. All right? And also the remnant, the 1/3. Right? So at that point in time, brothers and sisters will have their new bodies. All right? They will be in that new covenant. That is New Jerusalem, that new city, that holy city, a set apart city. All right? Coming down from power out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. What's the bride to Yahawashi? That's Israel. That's us. All right? Yahawah Tazah. We be of that number. That's the hopeful elect, the remnant, the ones that follow him, the ones that seek after him, the ones that know that he is the solution and nothing else down here on this planet. Okay? And this is who we pray to, Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, behold, the tabernacle of power is with men. And he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people. And power himself shall be with them and be their power. Now, understanding that the tabernacle is with men. And those men, the order structure, have women. Because they will have women, according to Isaiah 4:1. So you have to know the timeline of the prophecies. Isaiah 4:1 will happen before we even go into those chariots. So you're going to go into the chariots with a whole bunch of women that you're going to be, you know, in charge of taking care of. Right? They're going to be under your authority. Because in the time of Jacob's trouble, the time of WW3, the Great Tribulation, those women will cleave unto you, because you was the only type of salvation on this planet for them. You was the only way they was gonna make it out of America. They looking around, seeing bodies over here, dead bodies over here. It's smelling like death in the air. You hearing girls screaming, getting ravished, all right, left and right, you know. But you stumble upon a man of Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. You stumble upon him. He got about 4 or 5 women with him. But you don't care. You lost that envious or that jealousy spirit that you had on you in the world. And you like, just please let me be with y'all. That's it. All right. You women will be humbled down. All right. Humbled down. And we could say, yeah, a sense of desperation. Because that's what you will have on you. Is a sense of desperation. You know? Failing to understand that the Pookies and Ray Rays you was dealing with in the world was a ticket to destruction, when the true men of Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, who you scoffed at and you mocked at, you know, you saw in the corner and said they had dresses on, whatever, and you never believed them. Those was the real men. You was searching for God. He was right there in the corner the whole time, speaking through his men. You know? So keeping it going. Verse 4. And power shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. And that is speaking of an everlasting body. That is speaking of a better rulership, a kingdom. And this is pertaining to us. Keep that in mind, because the heathens, they will still be what? In a cycle of regeneration, reincarnation, in a cycle of death. All right, while they learn the laws, commandments, and statutes, they're not going to receive everlasting bodies. And how do we know that? I teach sometimes how we're like a Christian questioning me, you know. So for any Christian that's going to question me, how do we know that? Jeremiah 31 and 31, and it reads, "Behold, the days come, saith Yahawah, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel," that's the northern kingdom, "and with the house of Judah," that's the southern kingdom, right? So that's important to know, because that new covenant pertains to the Israelites, northern and southern, Negroes, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, right? At the end of the day. "Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, saith Yahawah," right? And before we continue, let's get Jeremiah 3 and 1 real quick. "They say, if a man put away his wife, and she go from him, and become another man's, shall he return unto her again? Shall not that land be greatly polluted? But thou hast played the harlot, we broke the covenant, with many lovers, yet return again to me, saith Yahawah." So the first thing Jake needs to understand, you know, as Elder Apostle to Gabar says, you need to understand who you are when you come into this thing, what nation you belong to, right? Who you go back to, your bloodline, where you came from, to know where you're going, right? So with that being said, you got to understand also that you played the harlot. This ain't talking about your forefathers. You are your forefathers. Once you understand regeneration, reincarnation, you messed up as well, right? We all messed up. We all failed, you know? Now let's go back to Jeremiah 31. But that's what Jake doesn't want to hold themselves accountable, acting like they just came out of their mother and they going through all of this for no apparent reason. Why are you going through all this? Why did you suffer as a kid? Why did you suffer? Why are you going through bills, paying payments, etc., right? If you never did anything wrong. You did something wrong in your past lives, all right? Verse 33, "But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith Yahawah. I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts." Now, for any individual that's saying we in the new covenant, what's the 445th law? Yeah, what's the 45th? Like random, just random shit. If it's in your inward parts, right? What's the 333rd law? You know, that Yahawah gave. What's the first law that Yahawah gave? Yeah, it's in my inward parts though. All right? No. You know, now we keep the law to the best of our ability. We study and we meditate on the word, as it says in the book of Joshua. day in and night. So as we grow, we know more. So we know, not to eat lobster, crab, shrimp, shellfish, crawfish, catfish. We know not to eat these things. We grow more, we learn what's proper for us to do. As the scriptures say in Sirach, was that 37? Know what is good for thy life. So you should be in a constant state of progression, a constant state of improvement. If you're not in that state of progression or improvement, what are you doing? You're being stagnant. You're staying still. It's a checkmate. It's a stalemate. You don't want to have that position because this is a battle, right? So you need to be in a constant state of evolution, improving, growing in this word, in your faith, in this understanding of the scriptures. If an individual don't want to do that, and you just rejecting knowledge, you're despising knowledge, you're despising the word, which means you're malicious to yourself, because you're harmful to yourself if you don't want to improve, right? So keeping it going. I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their power, and they shall be my people. Yahawah calls us his people. He deals with us. He cares about us, right? And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor. So I don't have to teach my fellow Israelite brother or sister. Never again. We will never hit the corners teaching our fellow Israelite brother or sister. Every Israelite brother will teach heathens. All right? That's it. That's period. We're going to be teaching the heathens. We're going to be teaching them the laws, commandments, and statutes. They're going to have to be holding on to it. They're going to have to be keeping the Shabbat, coming down for the Feast of Tabernacles, right? Keeping the order of Melchizedek, Malak Tazarah. They're going to have to be given a tenth, right? They're going to have to be doing that and growing and learning, all right? As well as being servants, okay? This is a changing of the guard. This is a changing of rulership, all right? So, finishing it up. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know Yahawah, for they shall all know me. Now, if you look around, everybody don't know Yahawah. Yeah. Do gangbangers in LA know Yahawah? No, all they know is Pyru, Crib. All they know, right? Do GDs in Chicago know Yahawah? No, all they know, they might say own King David, but that's blasphemy, right? They don't understand what they even talking about. All right, it's a confused sense, okay? And furthermore, they're unaliving their brother and sister. All right, still divided, still split. A kingdom divided, which we is a kingdom, but we're divided, so we can't stand. So Yahawah is going to take the elect, which is unified in the spirit, reborn in the spirit, right? And pull us up out of this place. And the rest of our brothers and sisters, y'all getting it. Y'all getting them ICBM missiles, y'all getting those judgments, and y'all getting thrown in that lake of fire because of your incredulity, your unbelief, you wasn't faithful. You didn't want to get right with Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. Understand that. You know what I'm saying? So keeping it going, because this is beautiful. Saying, know Yahawah, for they shall all know me, every single one. So how would a 2/3 know Yahawah? They're going to come back through the loins of a 144,000 man, or a 1/3 man, because the man plants the seed. So you're going to come back, regeneration, reincarnation. You're going to come back and you're going to what? Be born with an everlasting body. With the laws in you, you will never unalive again. You will never die again. I say unalive on TikTok because they don't take the... But we on YouTube. You will never die again. All right? For they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them. So from the lowest, from a Jay-Z, right, to an elder apostle to heart, right? From the lowest, from a Diddy to an elder apostle Gabar, right? Understanding. From someone that has been in this truth for 30 years, 40 years, to someone that sold his soul. If you're an Israelite, you're going to be good, all right? It's just we have to take different paths to get there. Okay? Saith Yahawah, for I will forgive their iniquity. He's going to forgive us of our sins. And I will remember their sin no more. And that's, going back to the title, that's a blessing. Just to be an Israelite is a blessing. Right? So summarizing is, think about these little blessings. Think about just you was born Yasharahla, man. A prince of the power. You was born that. He prince power. You was born a prince of the power, a son of God. That's something to cry about, man. I was sitting here last night watching that Katrina Doctrine documentary. Boy, it's got 3 episodes, man. I'm telling you, man. You know, you might tear up a little bit. It was cold how they did us. And you could tell it was racial. You could tell the whole Ninth Ward underwater, and they don't give a damn. George Bush on vacation. On vacation. Right? You know, and I was just like, man, Baba Kashar, we got to get up out of here. You know? Because I even though our people down there, a bunch of Levites, you know, Benjamin, Judah, you know, mixed in, some Gad too. Because Gad, you know, Native Americans they be thinking they black, but they be Gad, you know. So just all our people mixed in and just suffering, man. And I'm tired of seeing our people suffer. In general, I'm just tired of seeing our people suffer. But we know judgment has to go forth upon this earth, and Jacob's trouble got to go forth and all of that, you know. So it is what it is, you know, at the end of the day. But damn, you know, it's like, I hate seeing our people in a low state when you are so much better than this. We are the judges of the earth, but now we at the bottom, you know. So hey, we need Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi. At the end of the day, that's it. Yahawashi is the solution. That's it, man. So hey, with that being said, all praises be to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of the great millstone, Shalawam, to the Lord's hopeful elect. All right. Hey. All right, so hey, Kwam Yasharahla and the Bible ball to this wicked kingdom. May Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi destroy this bitch yesterday, man. Shalawam. How you do?
Good.